long-running debate in the fish keeping community. What's the best way to prep your water before adding it to your aquarium? But before we get into that, I just want to let you know I'm going to have to do all my videos sitting down from here because yesterday, this happened. Did you notice John drive right by after I fell? Thankfully, he did come back. He's my hero. Do you need to put water in a bucket for 24 hours to gas off the chlorine and get the water to room temperature before you add it to your tank? Do you need to buy distilled water from the grocery store and mix it up? Should I spend the money and buy pre-made aquarium water from the pet store? Or can I just run a hose from my sink and put it directly in my tank? Okay, let's go through these individually, starting with storing the water so that chlorine will gas off. Does this really work? To be honest, I have no idea. I mean, I guess you could go to a pool store, get one of those pool test kits, and see if it works. I'm just gonna go by what I've heard. This is something that used to be done back in the day by old school fish keepers, and they'd swear by it. Some of them are so stuck in their way and they're still doing it. And you know what? We got an email the other day where somebody said we should do a video about it. I don't know about you, but when somebody that's been keeping fish for over 50 years tells me something, I'm gonna believe them. But do we do this or have we done this in the old fish house? No. Should you buy distilled water from the grocery store to put in your fish tanks? Do you want distilled water to drink? While it could be argued that this is good for some fish, this isn't something that we do or have ever done. What some fish keepers do is they buy distilled water, which has pretty much everything removed from it, and add their own minerals to the water, making it specific for their fish. If you have that kind of time and patience and want to experiment with it, go ahead, I guess. But it's not something I'm going to be doing. Should you buy water from the pet store that's mixed already and specific for your aquariums? If you don't know what I'm talking about, there are some companies that sell water in jugs. You'll usually see this in big box stores. If you're someone that doesn't have time to put any thought into any of this and you want to do your maintenance as fast as possible or you just want to top it off, I'd say go for it. Is it something that I would do? Absolutely not. But if you have the extra money to do that, I say go for it. I'd rather have you do that than give up on the hobby because it's too much work. Just be aware that those jugs of water from the pet store isn't magic water. It's not like it's going to prevent you from ever having problems. And lastly, can I just run a hose from my sink and fill up my tanks? To someone who's new to the hobby, they might hear this and be a little scared. Isn't there chlorine in it and it'll kill my fish? Okay, listen. Chlorine isn't going to kill your fish if it's at normal levels. If you fill up your sink and all of a sudden your bathroom smells like the pool at the rec center, you might not want to use it. Maybe the water company just did a big flush and the chlorine is really high. If that's the case, I'd hold off on putting it in your tank. But if it's normal, there's really no risk if you're just doing a 20 to 30% water change. The biggest threat from chlorine is killing the good bacteria in your tank, not the fish, again, as long as the levels are normal. Is it going to be the right temperature? Okay, this one kills me. Have you ever been outside and it starts to rain and it's 90 degrees and that rain is just a little bit cooler? Well, that cool rain falls into lakes and rivers with fish in them. Do they all die from temperature shock? Listen, you're obviously not going to put ice cold water in your tank. Just get it as close as possible to regular temperature and your fish will be fine. If you're really worried about it, put a thermometer under your sink and adjust it till it's the same. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. Oh, and just so you know, doing a water change with cooler water, not ice cold water, but cooler water, will spark breeding with some fish. At the end of the day, this isn't something that you need to overthink. If you want to take the time and you have the space in your house to prep the water, then go for it. There's certainly nothing wrong with that, but if you have big tanks like us and you have a bunch of water that you need to put in those tanks, then just save yourself the time. Hook your hose up to the sink and just be done with it. And don't forget to add your water conditioner while you're filling up the tank. I promise your fish will be fine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.